Hey guys, welcome to the first International Space Station lesson on dressing lumber. I've not done this before, so it's going to be interesting, to say the least. I want to introduce you to one of the first machines you're going to use in the class, one that I introduced yesterday briefly by talking about what it did. This is called the jointer. Jointer planer to be more precise, but everybody just calls it the jointer. And its job is to make one side or one face, one of the large faces and one of the edges of your rough lumber smooth, flat, and perpendicular to each other, which means that one corner, when you're done using this tool, will be at 90 degrees to the face. And then you'll use other tools to dress the other two sides. So I first want to go over basic safety when using the jointer. First off, don't use it if you're not in the right frame of mind. If you're in a bad mood, if you took too much cough syrup, if you are afraid of it, don't use it. Also, like all the tools in the class, don't use it unless I have given you permission to do so. Before you're able to use this tool, you have to come, I have to demonstrate to you, you have to demonstrate to me, and then you and I have to agree that you can use this tool. Prior to every use of the tool, make sure that the work area is safe, clear, uncluttered, and that nobody else is working too close. In the COVID age, you got to make sure that everybody is at least 2 meters from you, which gives you plenty of safety margin. And then you have to prepare yourself to do work. First, remove any jewelry. Take my watch off, stick it in my pocket. If you're wearing a ring, please take it off. Terrible things happen when jewelry comes into contact with blades. Jewelry becomes a weapon, and we don't want that to happen. If you have long hair, which is not an option for me any longer, make sure that it's tied back, scrunchie, elastic, whatever. Long sleeves, make sure they're pushed up. If you've got a hoodie, make sure the strings are tucked in, because anything that gets into contact with the rotating blade that's inside here will suck you in. And underneath this guard is the business end of the jointer. I'll push it aside with a piece of wood. Never do this. There's a sort of rotating drum or cylinder that has 3 very sharp knives on it, like razors. So you never want to come into contact with that, because whatever comes into contact with that gets ruined. And if that's part of you, there unfortunately will be nothing left to reattach. So if you don't touch the spinning bit, this is actually quite a safe tool to use. Your rough lumber. This is a piece I've already cut to its approximate length. It's about 1 inch longer than I'm going to need for my finished piece. If you can see it, this one's a pretty nice piece of lumber. It's got some paint on it from the lumber yard indicating, I think, that it's basswood, and they color code them, but every yard does different colors, so you can't tell. And in fact, every shipment, the red one might be basswood this time, might be maple next time. So if in doubt, ask me. I'm not super great at telling which species is which. When it's in its rough form, it's easier when it's dressed. But I can tell that this is pretty light, so this is most likely a softwood, and from experience, it's basswood. Okay, then you have to determine which face, the face is the big edge of the wood, which of the 2 faces that you are going to joint. And there is a pretty simple rule here. The lumber, as it dries, tends to form a cup, and that cup will make it so that one side is nice and stable when you put it on the flat table of the jointer, and the other side is not so stable. It's got a little bit of rock and roll to it, which means that the cupped face is the face that I want to put down, because it's stable. Now, if you can't tell, if you look closely at your wood, you can see that the growth rings are visible here. And if you cannot determine which side is cupped, simply place the wood on the table with the face down. That makes the growth rings smile at you, because the wood will most often cup against the growth rings. So if you can see here, the growth rings go like that. That's kind of a smile. I think you can tell that. And so I'm going to make it so that the wood smiles at me before running it through the jointer. Now, This wood is pretty thin. It's about, I don't know, 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches in height. There is no way that I want my fingers that close to the rotating cutter head of the jointer. So I'm going to use a push stick. We have a couple of special push sticks designed for jointer use, and they are labeled here in the class. You can see it says jointer, or it used to say jointer on it. And it's got this little hook at the back. I use this hook to place the push stick down flat on the surface of the wood. Put both hands on it, that way I know where my hands are, and I use this to slide the wood across the jointer knobs. Okay, so I'll do a quick demonstration, and then we'll talk about doing an edge. As you can hear, it gets quite loud in here, but I've got the dust collector on. Can't use the tools without the dust collector, so unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit hard for you to hear. I won't talk very much. I'm going to take my wood with the cup side facing down, the cup facing down, place it on the table on the infeed side of the jointer. We're going to push it against the blade in this direction. We're going to open the guard. At this time, when the guard is open, that rotating cutter head is exposed. This is the most dangerous time to operate the jointer. So, pardon me, some allergies here. Be really careful. Once you start pushing the wood through the jointer, you don't fall into that blade. Stand your feet about shoulder width apart, which is what you do for, well, almost everything in the world that you want to be stable for. Hook the jointer, push it over the back end, and you're just going to push it across the rotating cutter head like so. I'm going to show you now how that works. Start the tool, wait for the head to get up to speed. It's almost instant with this particular tool. Place your foot down. Both hands go on the push stick. Walk with the wood so that you're always in balance. And you can see it starting to make that edge nice and flat and smooth. You might have to touch it a couple of times, 2 or 3. Stopping the tool now. As you can see, it's almost there. This edge is almost perfectly flat.